Welcome to the Electronic Warfare 101 class. We're going to do a lot of talking about what electronic warfare is, and how you can use it, stuff like that. We're not going to dive too deep into all the different chips that can use electronic warfare modules because there's quite a lot of them. But we're just going to mostly going to focus on the modules themselves and their effects and how it affects other ships, etc. Um, so yeah, what is electronic warfare? So at the moment I am flying an electronic warfare ship. This is a Griffin, small Caldari ship, um, and it's one out of four different types of ships that can use modules that either disrupt targeting systems or weapons or sensor strength, lock range, all kinds of stuff like that. So it's not really it's not really like uh, a module that does damage or anything, but it's an offensive module that can be used in like a support role, which are really important for fleets because if you're in a really big fleet, for instance, and you have the ability to uh, let the enemy ships lose their locked targets. Now that's really interesting, You're not really shooting a ship, but you are like supporting the rest of your fleet so that they, get their objective done, live another day. So there's basically four different forms of EWAR, as we also want to call it. You got the ECCM, also, short for electronic countermeasures, something like that. You got the sensor dampening, weapon disruption, and target painting. And we're just going to go over basically all of them. Um, Starting off with the ECCM. Um, Basically, all of them have their own, ships from one of the one of the empire's big factions. So the ECCM is mainly Caldari, sensor dampening is mainly Galente, weapon disruption is Amar ships, and target painting is Mimitar. So that's how kind of divided up in those four. Electronic countermeasures. That's what's on this one. I'll just quickly show the sample fitting. Again, all of these are sample fittings. They're not really, some of them are not super optimized just to provide like a baseline thing. So what do we have fitted to these? We have some minor guns to shoot some drones or stuff. We got our propulsion mod, and then we go into these really cool modules actually. So I'm just gonna grab one of them. Um, so what does it do? Well, you'll kind of lock another ship. You then activate this module, and then you kind of apply like a jammer effect onto the other ship, and that's kind of based on a couple things actually. So first off, we got these these four types of readings here. So you got the jammer strength, and if you look at the full fitting of your own ship, let's see. Oh, actually, oh, you should be over here in the yeah, here it is. If you look on the info page of your own ship, you also see like sensor strength here. So, for instance, for this ship, uh, it has like a gravimetric sensor strength. So, and if we then go back to the this one does another value actually. So it's a different type. So each racial ship has its own sensor strength type, basically. Uh, I think the gravimetric is for Caldari, uh, magnetonic is for Galente, the radar is for Amar, and then you got the last one. and a LiDAR is for a Mimitar. You can also like kind of see it based on the colors, like the golden one, kind of is a Mar-ish like. This light blue Galente, dark blue Caldari, and the reddish orange like is for, Trust in the Rust for Mimitar. So, uh, not to go too technical into all the details, but baseline is if you want to try and jam out um, a Mar ship, then you want to use like one of these ECM modules that does, that tries to disrupt the radar strength of the other ship, and etc. goes for the, same goes for the Galante one. You want to use a magnetometric, then the Caldari one, and the Mimitar one. So that's at the moment why we have these four um, different types fitted. So we can just, click on the ship that we want to jam, use the correct module, and we can jam out the ship. We also even have a one that is that has these that's an ECM module for basically everything, but that's a little bit it'll give you less jamming power. So I'm just gonna show you that one here on the let's see, what is it? Here it is. It's the multi-spectrum jammer. Um, yeah, so as you can see, uh, you know, it does a certain amount of, jammer strength across the board, but it's never going to be as good as the dedicated one. This is not even Tech 2 one. So if we'd look into the Tech 2 one, look at the attributes. So yeah, so the Tech 2 version would be 4, and if you grab the multi-spectrum one, you'll do 2.6 across the board. Not bad. You can fit these if you don't really know what to expect. Um, but yeah, it's always better to have dedicated ones because they're stronger. So what's more on this fitting? There's also some really cool low slot and low slot modules and rigs that really help in providing a little bit of bonus to these ECM modules. So first off, we got this one. It's the signal distortion amplifier, and what it does basically is it increases the range on the ECM module, and it also uh, gives it a strength bonus. So for instance, if we uh, if we look at uh, this one, for instance, just show the info on it. Like this is the jammer strength now. The 9.5. You got like 109 kilometers on it. Now, if we're gonna go and offline these modules in the fitting, the range drops down a little bit, but also the strength drops down a little bit, so it drops to 8.3. It's not the biggest change, of course, perhaps. This is a frigate, of course. You do have these in cruiser-sized ships, then it might even matter more. But having these on could just give you the edge to get a successful target lock. Then we also have a couple of rigs here that are really cool. So we have one that basically uh, this increases the optimal range of all electronic warfare actually. So that's really cool. So it's 20% range increase, which is a lot. If we look at it now, it's like 109. If I offline one of these, drops down to 103. If I offline the other one, drops down to 95. So that can really make a difference. The optimal range also drops down to 53, and it was about 68. So yeah, so these are also really cool. And then the last one that I'm going to dive into a little bit is the particle dispersion augmenter. It kind of increases the strength of the ECM2 by a little bit, uh, 10%. But it's an option. You can put it on your ship, and it might just give you the edge actually. So, how does it work in practice? It's a little bit of a RNG kind of thing, because we're going to try it out. But if you apply the jammer to the ship, it might not activate uh, just the first cycle. There's like a little bit of an RNG game going on there. Kind of checks if the the jamming strength you put out versus the defense that the other ship has, and if you could have a successful jam, but you might not. So I'm just gonna send this little guy here a dual invite because I don't want to get blown up. So we're gonna have him. Um, yeah, we're gonna have. I'm just gonna target him, and he's gonna target me. So if we look at his ship, he's flying a Kestrel, which is Caldari-based ship. So that means that we should use this module. So we're going to do that right now. And as you can see, we've applied, like this little animation going off. We're applying the module to him. But if you look at the top here, it's kind of a little bit faded out, a little bit dim, and that means that it's not working at the moment. The RNG has said no, Willie, and now it's like a brighter color. It's no longer like translucent or transparent. So this means that we've applied the jamming effect successfully, um, you know, and the other ship, uh, you're applying that thing to him, which is really cool. Now, at the moment, he is still locked on to me. Well, that's something that I'm also going to talk about. So, back in the day, like I think 2 years back or something, if you would use the ECM module on a ship that would also have targeted you, the lock would always drop, and they now changed it so that the ship that you're jamming can lock on to you, but not to any other ship. So if I can't really show you that now, but the Kestrel at the moment cannot target any of the other ships, just only me. And they kind of introduced that so people can still, fire at the person that's jamming them, but they're not able to lock onto any other targets. And at the moment, yeah, it's still not able to lock onto anything. And now you see, now it's kind of dimmed out again, kind of gray. So it's kind of a random thing, actually. You just need to get lucky. You can, of course, use all of these other ones at the same time, and hopefully they jam too. In this case, we had a really lucky jam with all the other ones. So it doesn't really mean that, you won't be able to get a jam off with a module that's not really optimized for this ship that you're trying to jam. It's just most of it is just random, actually. You can affect it a little bit, but you'll have to be lucky. I mean, this thing does still have a little bit of each of the other jamming strengths, of course, but it's just better in one thing. So that's basically uh, how that works, actually. It's not really a given thing that it's working or not, as you can already see. Now I have two successful jams active. The other ones are unsuccessful, so just, kind of goes like that. These things come in a couple different sizes. Also, you got Tech 2 versions as well. So if we're just quickly gonna look at the really cool Tech 2 version, which is the Kitsune. It's the same size, same model-ish, kind of. It's just a little bit um, stronger, of course. And then if you want to go up from here, you can go into another ship which is really cool. It's called the Blackbird. It'll, let's see, here it is. So this is the larger variant of the Griffin. And then if you really want to scale it up, you can go into the Scorpion, which is the battleship-sized version of it. And then, of course, you got Tech 1 and Tech 2 versions, of course, of the the Blackbirds, the Tech 1. You got the Tech 2 versions and stuff too. But yeah, so you can really upscale this, and if it's not often you see Scorpions on the battlefield, but if you see them, then they have their own dedicated purpose, to jam out the enemy ships. So that's really their role actually, really cool. Really, you can also really newbie friendly actually. Like if you're just like a, I don't know, couple day old account, or you've got really low skills, you can just grab one of these Griffins, go with your buddies on a fleet. These things are really easy to use, They also got really long range. Um, I think the fitting I made is also, yeah, I can lock it like 80 kilometers plus. You can stay safe, for a little bit at that range. You can just engage the enemy from really long distance away. Really cool, engaging fights you can do with that, and you're aiding your friends, so really good. Yeah, so from that, we're gonna disengage all of these again. Um, then we're gonna go into the next ship. I'll have to wait out my timer a bit before I can jump into it. But we're gonna go and talk about the Maulus, and the Maulus is the Galente electronic warfare frigate that we're gonna use as an example. Again, it's just an example fit. Um, the Maulus is uh, optimized for using sensor dampeners, and what sensor dampeners are actually, just gonna put it on screen here. Sensor dampeners, do actually two things. One is they decrease the lock range of ships, and two is they decrease the speed at which ships can lock. So both are really good actually. You know, uh, think of really long range combat ships that are trying to shoot at you from like, I don't know, maybe 100, maybe 150 kilometers away. Now, if you use one of these sensor dampeners on it, and if we're just going to look at a little bit of the attributes, uh, wait, if I'm just going to simulate the fit, that's going to be better even. So, if I hover over here, over the anti-trig propaganda. I don't know which anti-trig propaganda, but I'm not. I'm half anti-trig maybe. But um, yeah. So as you can see on the module here, it kind of uh, it has a minus 25% scan resolution, which increase. If you decrease scan resolution, you increase the time it takes for people to target other ships. And it has a minus 25% in max targeting range. So, if the ship's like, I don't know, 100 kilometers away, you use a couple of these ships with a couple of these modules, you're most likely going to be able to cut that targeting time into half, and then they won't be able to engage anymore at long range. And they'll have to come closer to you, which is not going to be optimal for them, because they're long range fit, so their guns don't track as good at short range. So at that point, you're kind of drawing in the enemy into positions where you want to fight them and not where they want to fight you. So that's a really strong aspect of this actually. Yeah, so my red timer is gone, luckily, so I can just board the ship from my orca, and we'll be able to see one. A funny thing is too, the ECM modules, they're just doing their thing. there's like a random thing to it. These work all the time. If you just target a ship, you activate the module, the effect goes off. It just does its thing, and it'll never fail you unless you turn it off or the capacitor runs out. The extra bonus thing on these is that they also are able to use scripts. And with scripts, I mean, I'll just show you how it works. So normally this thing does like minus 25% scan resolution and targeting range, but I can also like fine tune it to one of those two. So if I want to sensor dampen them so they even lose more targeting range, I can do a targeting range. I can use a targeting range dampening script, and then as you can see, it kind of locks in there uh, like a uh, like an ammo type, like a crystal that you can use on a laser or a missile that you can put in a gun. The only difference is that these don't deplete. You can also just swap them back out again. So if I don't want this anymore, I can just say unload to cargo, and then it goes back, to the base thing. But as you can already see, if you put that script in, it doubles the effect of what you're trying to do with it, and you can also do that with the scan resolution dampener. So you know, yeah, if you got like two of these or three of these, you can also just leave them without scripts, because their effect will add up anyway. But if you really want to, if your FC decides that you need to use a specific script, or you're on a hunting party or a roam and you want to do a specific thing with your ship, then just choose one of these. Um, I'm just gonna drop myself into um, a test ship, and I will have one of my other ships target me, and I will give you like an example of what happens when somebody uses a module uh, against you like that. I think I need to get closer to my orca. So I'll do that. Let me just board this ship. This is just a small random combat destroyer. It's not really fancy, it's just something. But we are going to look at stats. So I'm going to keep this one open. So at the moment, what we're going to look at is this, the scan resolution, which determines, how fast you can lock a target, and this one, the targeting range. So we are going to lock on. Let's see. Yeah, we are again going to send this character a dual invite. Um, and I'm going to lock him up too. This is I don't have any then you can see what happens with the scan resolution. So if we lock up this Mollis, you know, it's kind of okay. I already have it locked on. No worries there. Um, Now we're just gonna put scan resolution scripts on the other ship that's gonna put the damps on me, and then as you can see, it already dropped down to 300 and 180, and then one more, and now it's really dropped down by a whole lot. There is um, like a stacking penalty, of course, as you could already see, but it's really effective because it went from 600 something to 131. And now if I want to kind of lock on to a ship that's similar size, so for instance the Griffin, yeah, you can already see that, it's like, I think before it was maybe like 3 seconds, maybe 4 at max. Now we're already at 13 seconds that we need to lock on to a ship. And that way you're really hindering an enemy fleet, because they all need to take more time to lock people up and then shoot them. So, that in terms makes your fleet more easily survivable, actually. So that's what that does. So we're now just gonna switch to the other. Just gonna, you know, shut down all of these modules. You can already see the scan resolutions already coming up again. We're gonna swap them out with the targeting range dampening scripts, and we're gonna turn them on again. So we're starting at like 48, we're 24 and 13, and now we're down to 9. Well, yeah, that already tells enough. I mean, if there's like, I could now easily have this frigate orbit me at like, I don't know, 15 kilometers. That way, normal warp disruptor range for like even the compact one is 20 kilometers. So if I also put like a warp disruptor on the other ship and I run this ship, in circles around mine, then yep, there's no way that I can target it. There's no way that I can shoot it, kill it, because I can't even target it. And it's just gonna, keep pinning me down there until other people arrive to finish me off, actually. So that's really dangerous and interesting thing to do in a fleet, And also if you're uh, like fighting very long range ships, for instance, Minotaur ships with artillery cannons, or maybe even cruise missile based ships. I don't know if you really see them that much often in PvP settings, but cruise missiles are also really long range, like some of them even 100 plus kilometers. So yeah, you won't be able to. Well, your guns can still shoot at that range, but you won't be able to lock at that range. So yeah, so that's really cool about the about the Maulus. I'm gonna disengage all of the sensor dampeners again. So as you can see, lock range is going up again, of course. But yeah, really helpful. And as you can see, even one or two are really enough to get another person's ship up to the point where they are basically no longer really functional, actually, because if you can't lock somebody, then yep, there's no point in shooting them. I'm just gonna grab the Maulus fit, just so you can see how it is fitted. Yeah, I'll just grab it from here. Here it is. So yeah, of course I just put in some of these sensor dampeners. I put in a couple of these. I haven't shown you these ones. These are signal amplifiers. They don't really do anything for the sensor dampeners, but they do increase the my own uh, lock range and scan resolution. That's also a really a cool thing to show, actually. That is how you can protect yourself from, for instance, one of these sensor dampeners. Just quickly gonna simulate this one, because the opposite of the sensor dampener is the sensor booster. And if you um, put this on your ship, it does a number of things, actually. And it also ties in really cool with what we just saw on the Griffin with the ECM. So this is the sensor booster module. It gives like a 30% increase to scan resolution and maximum targeting range. So if by any chance somebody is using like a sensor dampener on you, you can counter part of that effect with one of these. And it also increases uh, all your sensor strength, actually. So the gravimetric, etc., all that, all those numbers go up as well. So you can more easily protect yourself from ECM ships. As you can see, this is you can also use. charges in that. So if you look at the sensor booster charges, you have three instead of two because it does three things. So you can, of course, if we put one of these ECCM scripts in, it gives even more protection. It doubles it. And same with the scan resolution, goes up to 60, targeting range goes up to 60 as well. So that's kind of how you can balance that out if somebody uses one of these modules against you. So either the sensor dampener or the ECCM. You yeah. If you know that there's a fleet coming that might use electronic warfare, fit one of these on, and you're really decently protected against stuff like that. So moving on from that, we're gonna go into the next thing, which is weapon disruption. Um, and I'm just gonna show you this next fitting. I'm already in a ship that I want to be in for this next part. We're gonna talk about the crucifier. I'll just show you the image here. So the crucifier is the AMAR electronic warfare frigate. Um, and what it does is, and what it's really good at, is disrupting other people's weapons and weapons that is turret-based weapons like I don't know, railguns, blasters, or autocannons, or artillery, artillery weapons, the Mimitar ones, or all laser-based weapons actually, so the AMR weapons. So you can disrupt those, or you can disrupt missile-based stuff like torpedoes, light missiles, cruise missiles, all kinds of stuff like that. And you'll have to make a choice in that because there's, as you can see here, there's two different types of disruptor modules. So this one that we're looking at right now, this is the one that disrupts missile-based guns, and the tracking disruptor disrupts the turret-based ships. And what that does is actually, I'll just simulate the ship, and you can see the stats. So we talked about the sensor dampeners dampening the range of the targeting range of a ship, and that's what these disruptors also do actually. But then just for the weapons and more stuff too actually. If you go into the disruptors, we'll go into to these ones, but we'll go into these ones first. So the tracking disruptors, they disrupt like turret-based weapons, and what they do is they drop the fall off bonus, the optimal range, and the tracking speed. So uh, if we look at like a normal turret-based ship like this one, or turret-based weapon, so the fall off range for this, particular gun is like 33 kilometers, and the optimal range within those 33 kilometers is 30. And there's all the way at the bottom, there's a turret tracking range, which is actually a number um, that determines how well that you can track other ships. And if you go into ships that are have bigger guns, for instance, I'm just gonna quickly gonna load one up. So this, the turret tracking on this ship is, it pretty good because it's a destroyer. It scales down actually in size. So if you go up a size, then the tracking goes down. So if we go to a really big ship, we're gonna go with a rock battleship. It's a Caldari ship. We're just gonna grab this one, just an example. Just gonna put in some ammo. I think there's some ammo here. Yeah, I'm just gonna put in. Yep. So this is really long range uh, battleship-sized railgun platform, and the tracking is terrible. It's 0.45. So that kind of puts things in perspective. You can, of course, but I won't go into that really in detail. But Tracking is also affected by the ammo that you use. So if I use another ammo type, it goes up a little bit, but it's still not really good. So what I was trying to say is that, if your tracking's really, if the turret tracking is low, you won't be able to track smaller ships that go faster really well, uh, you know, and you'll miss um, the target when you shoot it. So that's basically what happens then. So, and yeah, and the other thing is, the optimal range and the fall off range drop down quite a little bit. You can also, of course, use scripts again. You can use the tracking speed disruption script in it. So then, the tracking speed goes down even more, and you can put in tracking range disruption scripts, and then the fall off and the optimal drop down even more. So um, that's that actually. So really good for like really longer range big ships. If you use uh, this tracking disruptor on those ships, they won't be able to track other ships really well. They'll miss and they'll do less damage. And the same goes for missile-based chips, but that works a little bit different. I'll explain that a little bit too. So, as you can already see, the missile velocity and the flight time decreases, and that is something that determines the range, actually. So, missile velocity is how fast. It does a number of things actually. Missile velocity is how fast your missile or rocket is flying, which in turn also determines how far it can go based on the flight time. So each missile has a flight time, so it has an amount of fuel in it in the missile, and if the fuel runs out, it just explodes into place, where it is, but it doesn't necessarily have to hit something then. So uh, the missiles will fly at decreased velocity. The flight time gets decreased, so the the range is shortened. So that's really cool. And then we see something else, which actually in turn determines how much damage the missile does actually. Um, so two things. So explosion velocity and radius. Basically, the radius determines how good it applies to smaller ships, and the velocity is, yeah, kind of also ties into that. You kind of need to see it as the 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 tracking disrupt feature on the tracking disruptor. So, y- you know, uh, turret-based ships can miss, missiles will always hit, but based on the explosion velocity and the radius, it kind of determines, the amount of damage it does to smaller ships. So, for instance, if you shoot a cruise missile on a frigate, it will do less damage than shooting a normal missile on a frigate, actually, because uh, a normal, not yeah, normal like small missile, like because the small missile will uh, be able to apply the damage better to the small target. And it's kind of the way how the game balances out uh, big ships versus small ships engagements. Same as like the turrets. And of course, you can put the scripts in here too. So you can get the missile precision disruption script. So if you put that one in, the explosion velocity and the radius gets decreased even more. So missiles are no longer that precise. If you use the range disruption script, goes the other way, and the range is even more decreased actually. We're gonna show you that too on the ship that I'm flying at the moment because it is fitted with missiles uh, and lasers. So um, because the the guidance disruptor does not work for turrets, and the tracking disruptor does not work for missiles. So you really need to uh, determine that before you undock, or maybe you refit somewhere. But you need to know who you're fighting and fit the correct modules on this ship. Otherwise, it won't really work, sadly. I am going to switch one of my ships to the crucifier. There we go. Gonna unlock this one for now. And I'll just send him another dual invite. So we're just gonna keep an eye on uh, the uh, the stats here for the guns. We'll just first use the tracking disruptor. So we're gonna you know we're gonna start off with a fall off and an optimal range of 33 and 30 kilometers and a tracking of 22.8. And I'm just gonna use no scripts. I'm just gonna use the tracking disruptor on him. You can already see here at the bottom being tracking disrupted by my other pilot. I'm gonna go back here and yep, it's dropped considerably. Uh, the range dropped down like 10 kilometers. Tracking dropped down a lot too. Um, I don't have a second module fitted at the moment, but you can imagine if you put multiple of these modules on the same ship, then yeah, it's gonna be kind of like with the sensor dampeners that you won't be able to target anything at the moment. Actually, I'll just quickly turn that one off. Fit a targeting like a range. I'll put a range script in it, optimal range script, so you can see what it does then with just one module. Yeah, now it dropped even more, dropped like 20 kilometers. So if you got two of these modules um, on you, activated, then yeah, you won't be able to engage at like a decent range. Yeah, you'll just be sitting dead in the water, and other people are shooting you at that point. So that's basically what that does. Now we're going to look at the missiles. I'll have to show the charge info to actually just to show you the explosion velocity and radius, because that doesn't show here. So we're going to start off with like 32-kilometer range. We're just going to activate the module without any scripts in it, and you can already see, drops down again to 23. The velocity and explosion radius, we're gonna take another look at that too. Uh, yeah, and that dropped down considerably too. So yeah, then you can basically do the same thing uh, as with the tracking disruptor, and just put in some other scripts. Let's just quickly put the range disruption script in it, and you can already see it drop down even more actually. So we're down to 16 kilometers, and we were at, let's see, yeah, we were at 32. So yeah, it drops down in half. And then if you got a couple more um, uh, of these models on you, your missiles are not going to fly that far, and you won't be able to hit anything actually, or unless they come into range. But that's kind of the thing with these with the sensor dampeners and these weapon disruptors. They kind of limit your engagement range, and um, they bring you up to the place where the enemy wants you to be, because they want you to be close to engage you. So yeah, so they'll probably, they're going to deny long range shooting. Yeah, that was basically uh, you know the kind of decreasing of range of stuff, etc. So there's another thing which is also electronic warfare, which is also really cool. And we're going to talk about that now. Is the Mimitar electronic warfare frigate, which is the Vigil, and that does a completely other thing actually. It uses these really cool modules called target painters. Um, and what they do actually is so each ship has its own. Where can I find it? Um, yeah, so each ship has its own mass, which also determines, uh, if people can hit you. And you can imagine that if you have a really, really, really big ship, like for instance, so we're just quickly gonna go back to uh, the rock here because we can, this thing has a really, compared to the Vigil, has a really large mass, and it's an easy target to hit, So small guns can hit this thing really good. Big guns can hit this thing really good, because there's a loads of surface area to hit actually. If we drop down to the Vigil, there's not really a lot of surface area. So small guns like small missiles, small rail guns, etc., they're all going to apply really good to this ship. But if you have like this really big rail gun, like for instance the one on the rock, it doesn't really apply that well because it's just how the game works actually. Um, so then these target painters actually come in. Um, so yeah, the um, signature radius of the ship is also like kind of determined on mass and some other stuff in game. But target painters increase signature radius, which in turn means that more area to shoot, or you um, so large guns and large missiles apply better on small ships. And how that works is, I'm just going to show you that. So I'm just going to switch into another ship. I'm not going to switch into a Vigil because I want to show you the damage application of medium missiles on a really small ship actually. So we're going to do some switcheroo. I'm going to board this really cool larger version of um, the Vigil. This is the Bellicose. It's the cruiser-sized version of the Vigil, and I'm going to put the other ships in some target practice ships that I've buffed up a lot because I don't want them to really go boom, but I do want you to see what it looks like, in terms of damage application. So there we go. I think, yeah, both of them are in ships at the moment. Um, I'm already going to lock this one up. Already going to apply at least one of uh, these lasers on it. Cool effect is also you can see the laser going. It's the really cool effect. Uh, FCs also use that in fleets too, just so to be able to also kind of target the ship that they want you to shoot. But and I'm gonna send another invite to the other one. So we're gonna have two ships here. They're both identically the same. They're both these Kestrels. They're a little bit buffed up, so they got loads of. I think they got like 11,000 HP or something. Really good for small ship. We're gonna have one ship that we're gonna put all of these target painters on. So these are Tech 2 target painters. As you can also see, they're all applied. It just runs continuously. It's just like the weapon disruptors or the sensor dampeners, they just, they do their thing, they work. We're gonna shoot at this one, which doesn't have the signature radius increase. We're just gonna shoot once, and as you can see, doesn't really do a whole lot. 4% damage on shields. You know, it's negligible. And now we're gonna shoot this one. Remember, same ship, same fitting, everything. We're gonna shoot once too. And because of the increased signature radius, we've now done 8% in total. So that's double. And then, you can argue, it's not really a lot, but if there's a lot of ships shooting this one at the same time, the ship will die sooner than that one, of course, but that's what we want. Um, so these target painters really good for increasing the application of uh, missiles, but also uh, drones actually, because drones are also affected by signature radius. Tracking on guns is also affected by signature radius. Um, all kinds of stuff like that. Bombs too. If you, for instance, use um, a bomber frigate, which I talked about in another class. Bomber frigates are frigates that can fit a bomb launcher, and the bomb is just launched into space. It detonates in about 30 kilometers or something like that, and it just gives a really big area of effect. And if your signature radius is high, then the bomb will deal more damage because it can apply its damage better actually. So we just I'll just again just shoot that one and that one, and then you can kind of see what happens actually. Wait, yeah. So this one doesn't really do a whole lot of damage. The one that has all the sensor dampener of the target painters applied to it, it is getting a lot of damage. And that's basically what these EWAR modules do. So we use them with fleets quite a lot because most of the times a fleet is composed of small ships, medium ships, and large ones. So enemies will also run in small interceptor frigates, or they will come in destroyers or stuff like that, and we might be in battleships, for instance. And then some of these small targets, as small as they are, like that we want to have them on grid first, actually, because interceptors can, use um, warp scrams, etc., really effectively. Some destroyers, Tech 2 destroyers, can launch interdiction spheres when, if they launch those, we can't warp out. We want to get those off grid first, and we want our damage to apply to them. So at that point, we bring electronic warfare ships like this Bellicose, or maybe even its larger Tech 2 brother, actually. I think it's the Hugin. So we bring the Hugin with us, which kind of looks the same, but it's a better version of the Bellicose. And we bring those with target painters, and they assist our fleet members so that they can kill, the enemy team more successfully. So that's basically the four types of ECM of electronic warfare actually. So you got your ECM stuff uh, like the Griffin. You uh, you jam people so that they cannot lock other ships. They will be able to lock you. It's just how the game works. It gives them a fair chance to remove the lock. Back in the day, you were able to perma jam another ship, and there was not really anything that they could do, to get that lock off them. So CCP decided to, put that feature in there. You are able to lock up anybody that is ECCMing you, and you can destroy them to get the jam off. You got the sensor dampening on the Galente ships like the Maulus. It decreases sensor strength and thus increases lock time. and decreases target range. So that's really cool. That's a really versatile thing actually to bring with you, because if we look at the Amar EWAR, for instance, on the crucifier, then you have to choose if you want to disrupt uh, turrets or missiles, and the Maulus just, the sensor dampener, it just uh, messes with all of them actually, because it decreases the target range. So they're all affected. So that's really a versatile thing to bring if you're not really sure, what you're gonna run into. And then of course the Vigil or the Bellicose or anything up from there is also really good to have. I haven't really seen um, target painting battleships in any of the fleets that I was in. But yeah, we for sure go up to like the cruiser-sized ships. They're really effective. They increase the damage application that we do. So that's really cool. There's a couple of things that I haven't mentioned, and that I just want to give you as a bonus because I cannot really. Well, there's one thing that I cannot do here, sadly, and that is use a burst jammer module. So we've talked about if we're going to look at this Griffin fitting here, you can fit these dedicated ECM modules. You can also fit the multi-spectral ECM module that does a little bit more damage across, a little bit more jammer strength across the board. But you also have this, like a burst jammer effect, which is kind of like an area of effect thing. The burst radius is 12 kilometers, but I'm not able to use that here in high sec because Concord will come and kill me, sadly, because it'll just do like it'll shoot this thing off towards everybody in my vicinity, and I'm not engaged with some of these people here, so I'll get concorded. But yeah, so you can use these too. The it's like 12 kilometers. I think it'll probably go up with if you fit it to a ship, but it just burst jams everyone, and it has a pretty decent jammer strength too. So you can use this, for instance, if you are say you're a hauling ship, because you can use this on a hauling ship too, of course. But say you're a hauling ship and you're going through, I don't know, you're going through low sec or whatever, and they catch you on a gate and they put like a warp disruptor on you. Then you can, if they're close enough, you can use this burst jammer to just quickly, you don't have to target anyone. Targeting speed on haulers is really suboptimal too, actually. So you can just use this module, and maybe you can break the target lock of the one that's warp disrupting you, or you can just use this in a fleet, uh, warp it right on top of, for instance, the enemy's um, logistics ships, so the ships that try to heal other ships, and use the burst jammer, and they lose their lock on all the ships that needed repairs, and that messes with them too. So it's more kind of a niche thing, I would say. I don't, you can just use this in a fleet engagement, but you'll probably get primaried afterwards and get shot by the fleet that is on, at longer range than 12 kilometers. But it's a thing. You can use it. Um, you know, and then all of the stuff that we discussed actually, CCP was so kind enough to make drone um, uh, uh, drones of those too actually. So there's 4 different types of electronic warfare drones that kind of do the same thing as all the stuff that I've been talking about. So I'm just gonna put them all on screen here. Um, just gonna line them out a little bit. So there we go. So the Hornets. Um, like the Caldari drones. They have an ECM drone, and although it's not really that potent. It's just one jammer strength all across the board. But you can field five of these, and you can send them just to a random ship, and you can keep your other jamming modules on other ships. So you can just kind of toy with that a little bit and just be a little bit more versatile. And you can even bring these on ships that are even not dedicated EWAR platforms. You can put these on your battleship, for instance, and just send five of these out and send them to another enemy, and you're doing two things at that point. You're providing electronic warfare for your fleet, and you are shooting at enemies. So it's pretty cool. And the same goes for these hobgoblins, the Galente. So they're sensor dampening drones. Again, it's not really compared to the normal module, it's not really a whole big difference, but it could just win you the day. Just decrease the scan resolution a little bit, the targeting range, and then you got the MR drones, the tracking disruptors. Um, I think they do actually only work for. Oh no, they work for both actually. So they work for the missile-based uh, guns and the turrets. So aside, the you can't really use a singular module on an MR EWAR ship that does both, but the drones do. So the drones do like they just disrupt both of them, I think. And then you get um, the target painter drones, which is the Mimitar drones, and they just where is it? Where is it? Yeah, so they just they just target paint anything that's out there, which is really cool. So you can just uh, bring that to the field too. Just target paint some stuff that's that you can't target paint with the other modules that you already have, and be a little bit more versatile like that. These also come in different sizes. You got the all of these got the medium and the large size drones too. They all like kind of do their own specific dedicated thing, but they're just larger, and their stats are a little bit better. Yeah. Um, all these things are also not really that difficult to skill into. I'll just quickly go into a couple skills that you could train for that. You got let's see, just you got the electronic warfare skill, which is most of the times the one you start off with, because it's for the ECM jamming systems. So it gives you access to all of these really cool uh, jamming modules, and of course, if you go up, then you can use the Tech 2 ones. You got the some other cool skills like the signal dispersion, which gives an increased jammer strength. Um, this one is to give your ECM modules longer range. Actually, all of them actually. So this one's a really cool skill to train if you can. I don't think no, it doesn't require a whole lot of prerequisite skills actually, and it basically increases the fall off range for all of the modules that I just talked about. So the jammers, the sensor dampeners, all of the disruptors, um, target painters, but even remote sensor boosters and remote tracking computers. That's a different thing, but um, those get increased too. Um, Long range jamming does basically what it says it does. It increases the effective range, the optimal range of all of these modules too. So the ECM, etc., all of them. And then there's a couple of others. These are specific to sensor dampeners, so you get an increase in bonus to remote sensor dampeners. Um, what they do. Target painting. Um, you'll need that for the to be able to use target painters, but it also decreases the capacitor for the target painters. Also really cool. And then you got the weapon disruption skill, which is needed for these tracking and guidance disruptors. And then you got the weapon destabilization skill, which further increases the amount of disruption you can do with those modules. So it's not really, I'd say it's not really that difficult to get in these modules. It also doesn't really, the Tech 2 versions of the weapons are always better, but already showing up in a fleet with one of these Tech 1 modules is already really cool actually. You can already do a whole lot of cool stuff with it. Well, as you have seen, I think if we say for instance, if we look at the Vigil, if we load up the Vigil, it's not really expensive too actually. So this is below a million ISK. Um, um, this is of course with my skill set, but you have like you should have really long targeting range. These modules have a lot of targeting range. They have a lot of optimal and range of what you can use them. I won't be even able to use them at 200 kilometers, of course, because I can't target at that range. But the bottom line is they're fairly inexpensive, um, easy to use, not really hard to skill into. You just need to, pick one of them, and you can really help out your buddies in a PvP fight. As a support role pilot. And the cool thing is also that even though this ship doesn't have any guns, because it's just solely based on really really long range, because there's not really anything that I can fit on this ship that will be able to shoot at 125 kilometers. But these target painters will hit the enemy ship that you're using the painter on, and if your buddies kill it, then you get on the kill mail too, because it's still an offensive module, and you used it on that ship. Same goes with all of the other modules actually. So the sensor dampeners, tracking disruptors, all of them. If you just use them on enemy ships, you get on kill mails, and it's just a little proof and a little bit of recognition of you, uh, being active in a PvP fleet, and it's really cool. Um, so yeah, there's not really a whole lot to tell actually. Of course, there's a lot of ships that are able to, you can basically fit these modules on most other ships, if not all actually. But of course, the if you pick like an electronic warfare hull, like a ship that's really bonused for it, then of course they do their job a whole lot better. And you can go from frigate to all the way up to a battleship for all of these things. So it's just whatever is needed and whatever you want to use, and or either what your FC is requiring of you to fly. Um, are there any more? Are there any more questions? Actually, you can just type them um, either in Fleet here, or you can just speak up on comms. So, are there questions? I don't see any typing, and I don't hear anyone. Um, so yeah, I'll stop the recording. Thank you all very much.